Welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. And I got a great example this time. I'm proud to present The Nature of Oaks by Douglas W. Tallamy. Subtitle: The Rich Ecology of Our Most Essential Native Trees. Now, that's going to be my focus for this video. Just one book, and I think you'll enjoy it. But before I do, most of us have had some connection with oaks growing up. We found acorns. These acorns that I have here, when they'd fallen from an oak tree in the neighbor's yard onto the street, they were partly green and partly brown. I thought, oh, there must be some insect that's bored into it and is eating it. But I couldn't see where there was any hole in it. And as time went on, lo and behold, they all got hard because they'd been soft. They all got hard on the outside, very hard, and all turned brown. This one still has a little ways to go at the top. Then yesterday I found these. This was a cluster of 4. One little one and 3 bigger ones. Here's a cluster of 3. And then I had these. Somebody gave them to me. Some student did. This acorn. This acorn, somebody carved those, and this was I think I found, this was a curtain pull, or maybe a student gave this to me. And in the old days, there'd be a little hole in the curtain, and you'd stick a string through the hole and have the 2 ends, and you'd this was all somebody'd carved this by hand, and then you'd stick the 2 ends through that, tie a little knot, extend it out, tie a knot, pull it back in, screw it here, and then you had this neat curtain pull. And so, well, besides that novelty of those, let's get on to this wonderful book. Douglas didn't necessarily start out as maybe even thinking of writing a book about oaks. His early experiences was as an entomologist, studying insects. And certain questions would come up. Where do you find them? Where do they lay eggs? What plants do they lay their eggs on? What plants do they eat? Etc. And he started to see certain connections that expanded in time, one thing leading to another. What trees attract birds to them, to nest in the trees, to feed in the trees, and what's the relationship goes on between this? And that sort of relationship study is the study of ecology. That one thing's not just in isolation. So I'm going to show you some different things in the book. One, he's organized it around months, and you'd think he might start in January. Well, he starts in October, and I'm going to read what he wrote here. When our property was no longer mowed for hay, they've just bought a farm. The invasive plants from Asia, multiflora rose, autumn olive, Japanese honeysuckle, that had been kept at bay by the mowing, exploded everywhere. These species are incapable of supporting the wildlife we hoped to attract to our new home. So a typical weekend at the Tallamys involved whacking out the root balls of huge multifloral rose bushes with my mattock. It was satisfying work, and I thought of Wendell especially when we got to stack the whacked bodies up in giant piles. But it did leave open ground wherever we had removed a bush. The following spring, we were thrilled, but somewhat baffled to find seedling white oaks and beeches popping up in many of these disturbed areas. Befuddled because I couldn't for the life of me figure out how they had gotten there. We had no white oaks or beeches on our property, and no mature trees nearby from which squirrels could have moved seeds, even if they had carried them a good distance. I knew that acorns and beech nuts, unlike the seeds of many other plants, do not remain viable in the soil for more than a year. So there was no chance they had sprouted from a seed bank many years old. I was stumped. Well, something about being stumped and asking questions. Now, one of the things that he noticed was, and others have noticed, is that blue jays routinely carry acorns from for winter storage over a mile from the parent tree. The end result is that each jay plants somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,360 oak trees every year of its 7 to 17-year lifespan. Ooh. And now on the West Coast, there are a beautiful acorn woodpecker makes holes in the oak trees, and into those holes it places the acorn and then taps it in to secure it in there. If it's not a good fit, it'll take it out of this and search for a little smaller hole. Or if it's got one that's too big, it'll search for a bigger hole. And then he talks about masting. Every so often, whether to allocate limited resources to outpace acorn predators or to increase pollination efficiency, oaks like the white oak produce a bumper crop of acorns every so often in a process called masting. I've seen him use that slide in some of his YouTube videos. There's a tremendous resource there. This book I've had out from the library on 3 occasions, and it's just fascinating as you go through as information links up and connects up. He said, the white oak in my front yard is not just another tree. In my county in Pennsylvania, 511 species of moths and butterflies develop on oaks. Nearly 100 more species than their closest competitors, the native cherry trees. No other, this isn't Japanese cherry trees, they're native cherry trees. No other tree genus supports so much life. There is nothing unusual about my county either. Oaks are top life support trees in 84% of the counties in North America, which is just about every county in which they occur. And that's all across the United States. It's in Canada, Mexico. So, well, now, in April, he shows the oak galls. Now, the scrub oak, which grow near the ocean here, and don't get very tall at all, but they often have galls on them. But other oak trees will develop them as well. There's just a sampling of variety, diversity. And that's what he was after on his property. He wanted to have, increase the diversity of life there. And to do that, he realized he had to have certain trees and certain bushes, native trees, native bushes that had already developed relationships with various insects. Here he is with a collecting caterpillars, which is a neat device I thought I'd just share with you. We don't normally see all this life, but a white cloth with corners sewn on it that will take these two sticks. There'll be a little sag. The sticks have got a screw and through it so that you can rotate it. So you have this. You can wrap that green and white fabric around it, and you're in business. Plus, there's a stick he's using here to sort of maybe beat the leaves, shake down what he can into this, and it'll be very easy to see. That litter won't go to the ground. It'll be very, it's amazing the number of moths and caterpillars in the leaf litter on the ground that we don't often ever see. So I won't carry on with this. I'll just say, check your library. If they don't have it, ask them if they could order it. And check videos. Now, I hope to put a few links of some of my favorites, if I remember to, in the description when I get to doing that. One other thing is, a point he makes is, why do birds migrate? Well, they migrate because of food. They migrate for food. I mean, the ones that leave in the Arctic leave not just because it's going to get cold, but when it gets cold, there won't be food for them. And some of them will fly all the way to the tip of South America, where it'll be summer, and they'll be able to harvest and food. But the shorter migrations are happening because there's not food. So if we plant the right bushes that are hosts for the right food, then we will have more bird life. He's also gone off to see further connections that he writes about and talks about. So I think this man is, well, I just think he's been very, very perceptive and a person who asks questions and then goes about to try to find the answers. Hats off to you, Doug. I don't know you personally, but I sure do like what you write and the videos you make. Well, thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.